So I listened to the Daryl Morey interview, and I don't know what it is. I kind of feel bad because, quite frankly, I just can't stand this dude talking. It was a hard listen. I was bored out of my mind. It's the same thing over and over again. Oh, we got the third best odds, though. Remember, we had the third best odds going into the season. So now that we got Grimes, we got McCain, we got this and that. There's hope because the computer tells us that our odds are better than the Charlotte Hornets and the Chicago Bulls. And I know most fans are like, oh, props to him for going on the radio, props to him for talking to the public. But honestly, I'd rather him just not talk. I'm being real. I'd rather just let the results speak for itself. I don't want to hear this monotone dude anymore. Am I crazy for that opinion? Let me know your thoughts below in the comments section. So the new Morey propaganda is the whole youth movement thing. He's really been pushing it since the season ended in his exit interviews and again today in his 2 interviews. And I tweeted and stated, this youth thing Morey been preaching is hilarious. Just get good basketball players. Nick Batum was our best role player, and he was 36 freaking years old this season. A couple of years ago, Morey was all about getting veteran experience, tough guys, aka PJ Tucker. Now it's all about youth. No, it's about just getting good basketball players that fit your system, that fit your culture. And one of the mistakes he admitted that he made was putting too much stock into role players that were good in the playoffs before signing with the Sixers. I don't know about you guys, but the more I watch the NBA, the more I realize it's about the environment you put the NBA player in. Most likely, if you make the NBA, there's a situation out there that can get the best for you. Remember Al Horford on the Sixers? We expected way too much from him. His role was way too big, and now he goes to the Boston Celtics. He's one of the greatest role players of all time. You're seeing it with Julius Randle. He had one of the best playoff series of his NBA career with Minnesota because Minnesota pretty much made him take the little things a little more serious. In the beginning of the year, it just seemed like he only wanted to play offense. Now he's actually putting in effort defensively, and he's accepted that he is a second option behind Anthony Edwards. You even saw it a little bit with Tobias Harris. He performed way better in the playoffs this year than last year with the Sixers, and I think with Tobias, it was more on the mental side of basketball. Think about it. In that locker room in Detroit, everyone's looking up to him because everyone's younger than him, and he's the most accomplished in that locker room. With the Sixers, he was kind of the fourth option, and whenever we needed him to step up most, he really didn't step up. So naturally, he's kind of going to be looked down upon, not saying that Sixers players were shitting on him behind his back or whatever, but what I'm saying is I think he played a lot more free in Detroit than he did in Philly because there's a lot more pressure. I don't think Daryl Morey takes this side of basketball into account as much as he should. And just seeing him flip-flop, oh, we need veteran experience, we need guys who have performed in the playoffs, and now we got to get younger, we got to do this. And I also find the younger thing funny because our oldest players are injury-prone and not young at all, like Paul George and Joel Embiid. And then last year, they weren't taking the regular season serious, but in his interviews now, they're like, oh, we should have took it more serious, now we're going to take it serious. I don't know, it just kind of feels like he's throwing darts and just hoping something sticks. And as you know, he can get some things to stick, like Jared McCain, Tyrese Maxey draft pick. But the more and more we go throughout Daryl Morey's time with the Sixers, it just feels like he's an ordinary GM. But quite frankly, he came here and we expected him to be a legendary GM, and he's just not that. I was also a little disappointed in what I heard from Daryl Morey in terms of how he was talking about Joel Embiid. He admitted that we don't know if Joel Embiid's ever going to be the same. Obviously, everyone knows that. He was asked about lowering his usage, and Mike from Rights to Ricky Sanchez made the example of Brook Lopez, and Daryl Morey kind of turned that down. For them to really do something, they need to acknowledge that Joel Embiid can no longer be a high-usage NBA player every single night in the regular season. But based on the way he was talking, it's kind of like he's hoping and he's expecting Joel Embiid to come back, and then we're just going to run everything through Joel Embiid. It's going to be the same thing. We're going to be back on the MVP talks of Embiid. But we've seen his body cannot handle that even before 2 years ago. So now that he's got another surgery tacked on and he comes back and he's doing his thing, how on earth do we expect Joel Embiid to get through the regular season, get through the playoffs in one piece? And honestly, with that mindset, we're kind of just back to square one. Everything falls on Joel Embiid, and he's shown that he's not capable of doing everything to get you to the promised land. Like, for this to work, they got to take the Kawhi Leonard or Jimmy Butler route. Like, I just want to make this clear. Joel Embiid can do everything right. He can eat bananas. He can only eat bananas, whatever. He can get scrawny. He can get skinny. He can be in the best shape of his life. But those knees are not going to work out if we are just Joel Embiid and die. You know what I'm saying? We have to be a better team without Joel Embiid. That's first and foremost. But also, they got to ease him back into the flow, like the Clippers did with Kawhi. He only played 37 regular season games, and in the first month that he played in January, he only averaged 24.2 minutes per game, and he had an under 30 usage percentage. Meanwhile, when Joel Embiid came back, he's averaging 31.3 minutes per game in the month of November. He started out 26 minutes versus the Knicks, but then 33, 31, 35 in the next 3 games. And he has a usage percentage 34%. Like, first and foremost, I wish I heard this out of Daryl Morey today, is the Sixers have to be a better team without Joel Embiid so he can just chill at times during the regular season. So he can be Jimmy Butler on the court. Basically, Jimmy Butler during the regular season, he just sits in the dunker spot, sits in the corner, and then every now and again he'll have a takeover game. And that's what Joel Embiid has to do because his body is literally broken. You can't expect him to carry a big load, but based on what I heard from Daryl Morey, he expects Joel Embiid to come back and play at a very high level and carry a huge load. Pause. And the sad thing is, I don't even think that approach was possible last year because the Sixers were so bad in the beginning of the season. So Joel Embiid came back with the mindset that I got to carry this team. I got to be the guy. And not only did he think that, but the whole entire team thought that because they were one of the worst teams in the league without him. If you want this thing to work, the team has to be better without Joel Embiid. I can't believe he didn't say that one time today in his interviews. Because then you can start to lessen Joel Embiid's load. He can chill during the regular season. He doesn't have to play back-to-backs. He doesn't even have to play against bad teams. Because that's what it's going to take to keep him healthy. He can do everything right. It doesn't matter. This dude's body's broken. And oh, by the way, if you've been paying attention to the playoffs, this is a new NBA era. The days where one player can carry you no longer exist. Teams like the Pacers, the Oklahoma City Thunder, you can name it. They play team-oriented basketball. They got multiple players going for double figures, even off the bench. This one-star, one heliocentric offense thing is dying because role players are just naturally better. Evolution. Everyone can shoot, pass, and dribble on the good teams. It's no longer you have a guy on the court that can't shoot or dribble. That's got to go. But not only that, all the good teams, it feels like most of their players can guard every single position. And then we got small Maxey, we got small McCain, pretty small Quentin Grimes as well. So like defensively, I don't feel like we're up to par or even near championship level either. And that's another spot where it makes Embiid's job more important, more taxing, because he's got to make up for blown coverages and things like that. The Clippers, and I would say probably more so Kawhi Leonard, made sure he was right. Made sure everything was great, made sure everything responded well before playing 30 minutes. Joel Embiid and the Sixers are just like, whatever, he's back, okay, 35 minutes, oh okay, let's feed him the rock, and he just, ISO Joel, he'll be fine. He falls on the ground, hurt again. Also, he said that he thinks Kelly, Drummond, and Eric, they're all likely to come back. Oh my goodness. And one of the reasons why the Sixers were so bad last year is they were one of the worst passing teams in the league. Hopefully, he realizes that. He didn't mention anything in the 2 interviews about being a better passing team, but maybe behind the scenes he's talking about that. I'm sure they are. I'm sure they noticed because they were like last in the league in assists per game. But who knows? Jared McCain probably was the best passer on the team at times this year, which is kind of sad considering he's a rookie. He did mention that Tyrese Maxey needs to improve in that category, so hopefully that tells us they are thinking about that. But yeah, that's basically all I got. Let me know your thoughts below in the comments section.